Well, another late game tease courtesy of the Devils. If someone could just tell me in the chat make sure the audio is working. Man, what a painful game. What a painful return. Someone in the chat, is the audio good? Thanks, keeping up. And it pains me to say, I wish I had some joyous feelings coming into this first post-game live in about 2 weeks. Your New Jersey Devils, first game back out of the Four Nations break at home, hosting the Dallas Stars, and the Devils fall by a score of 4-2. Another case of too little, too late. Devils go down 2-0 pretty early. The Shimo Nemitz and Luke Hughes pairing, hopefully it's the last we've seen of it. I've voiced my displeasure and thoughts towards that pairing from a while ago. I said, as a philosophy, I personally do not like two inexperienced or younger defensemen paired together when you don't have to. The Devils have enough veterans to prevent that from happening. For whatever reason, they wanted to go to the Luke Nemitz pairing. The first game when Nemitz came up, I thought they looked disastrous. They looked much better in Montreal, but overall, I don't like them as a pair. And you saw why tonight. Again, I like to see a younger guy paired with a veteran that could kind of cover for them a little bit. We saw him tonight. Not great coverage by them on that first goal. And then the BS penalty on Brendan Dillon, which was absolute horse. You know what? Terrible penalty. Guy hit, I think it was, did he hit Dougie late? I forget. And then, Dillon came over and gave him a little whack. He gets a 2-minute penalty. We're down 2-0. Completely terrible. Terrible call. And ultimately, it really impacted the game. First period ends 2-0 Devils. A lot of us, or a lot of you anyway, were dooming in the chat per usual. I was definitely down in the dumps. I mean, to be down 2-0, nothing in the second, and then the third period, the Devils come back to life a little bit. Jack gets an early power play goal, cuts it to 2-1 with 10 minutes left, and then Dallas scores 35 seconds later. 35 seconds later, Duchesne scores. I thought Jake Allen could have probably had that one. That's definitely one he wants back. Dallas retakes the 2-goal lead. They're up 3-1, and then a minute and change after that, Jack scores again to cut it to 3-2. Devils pull the goalie. They're buzzing a little bit. Timo draws his second penalty of the game. He gets high. I think, was it the high stick? Or I forget. Was it a high stick? I don't even remember. But draws another penalty. 6-on-4 for the Devils to end the game. And another tease. Timo makes a boneheaded play with the empty net. Dallas scores 4-2, game over, and a painful loss. A painful loss. A lot of people were saying the Devils have played terrible. I didn't think they played terrible. They just can't finish once again, and it's a problem that's been a reoccurring one. Devils unable to score, but let me stop rambling for a minute to numb the pain, guys. Numb the pain. Need a little bit of the medicine. Win or lose, we booze. Dirty Devil Vodka, the official vodka of the great Martin Brodeur. Dirty Devil Vodka, smooth as hell. And wow, it really sucks. I'm a little depressed after watching Four Nations face-off tournament, seeing high levels of play. Cheers to all my Devils fans. Win or lose, we booze. And painful loss, and another tease, another one where they make you believe they're going to come back and have this miraculous comeback, and it wasn't meant to be. And we come out of the break with 25 games left, and the first one is a loss. Back in action tomorrow at Nashville against one of the worst teams in the league, and hopefully we could somehow find a way to win a back-to-back. Obviously, the Devils in the past few seasons, or last season anyway, and this year, atrocious in the second game of the back-to-back. Hopefully that doesn't continue. Tomorrow is a very big game that they need to win, but wow. We look at the game stats. Dallas, 26 shots on goal. Devils with 33. Dallas, 46.8% of the faceoffs, and the Devils with 53.2. Dallas's power play goes 1 for 3 off that horrible penalty call on Brendan Dillon. That should have never happened. Devils go 1 for 4 on the power play. Dallas 13 hits, Devils with 30. Like to see 30 hits. Hopefully that becomes more habitual down the stretch. You all know heavier, edgier, more violent. Got to throw the body. Stars at 21 block shots. The Devils with 13 block shots. Dallas with 16 giveaways. The Devils with 11 giveaways. And Dallas Stars, 2 takeaways. And the Devils with 3 takeaways. And that is your story of the game. The New Jersey Devils just too little, too late once again. Another game in which they surrender the first goal. We've seen that quite a bit. And another kind of sleepy first period for the New Jersey Devils as well. It just seems like they don't get it going until it's too late. I don't know why that is a reoccurring theme. I wish I had the answer. But again, they don't start playing hard until it's too late. And this loss sucks. I don't think the team overall played as bad as many of the people are saying in the chat. They just, once again, could not finish and find the back of the net, and it's been a problem. Hopefully, these guys could start burying some pucks. But DeSmith, another backup goalie, made to look like the reincarnation of Martin Brodeur in his prime. And a big opportunity tonight squandered. 2 points that would have been really nice to have got away from us. And tomorrow is a huge game now. There's not a lot of wiggle room anymore. I mean, there's 24 games left now. And the playoffs, in my opinion, have been a coin flip for quite a while. It seems to me like 50-50. I know I've seen websites that had the odds much higher, and I don't really know how. I mean, to me, it seems like a coin flip. And we're going to need a lot of out-of-town scoreboard help. We're going to need the teams chasing us and the team in Carolina, I suppose, in front of us, to continue to also suck, to hopefully keep us in it. But terrible night, another tease, and I'm depressed. Back-to-back painful games for me. The last one being the Four Nations Championship game that I was able to attend. Shout out to the boys. Brian and Anthony, we had a phenomenal outing to Boston and back. One of the more memorable trips in a long time. A night I'll never forget. So thank you to Brian and Anthony. Unbelievable night we had at that championship game. And USA just came just short. Connor McDavid, so damn good. But if you haven't seen it, check it out on the channel. I have a bunch of videos from the Four Nations. I'll be putting out a bunch more in the next couple days or so. I was able to catch up with Jay Pandolfo. Got a cool interview with him coming out. So if you're newer to the channel or you're a veteran of the channel, go check out some of those videos. And yeah, in attendance for USA Heartbreaker. And tonight, the New Jersey Devils could not score goals until it was too late. And let's see what you guys are. Oh, the chat is quite active. It's an active chat. Ritter Engine says, blow it up. The core smells like rotten fish. I think that's a little harsh. Who in the core do you want to get rid of? I mean, and please don't say Timo Meyer. Jack Hughes is going nowhere. Again, and I've said this a million times, if there was someone to be moved out to break up the core, I think it would be Bradder, and I think that would be a mistake. I think Bradder has been our best overall offensive player for several years now, and he's a very good player, and we would miss him if we were to trade him. I think the core, at some point they might have to look at breaking them up. I don't think it's yet, but missing the playoffs this season, I would certainly be more than tempted to explore it, because missing the playoffs this year would be completely unforgivable. Jay Snow, I don't care about Mercer's points. He's a passenger. You guys are really in a mood tonight. Jay Snow, and I'm sorry, I'm done with the Timo moral victories. Again, is he slightly overpaid? Sure. Is he the horrible player that a lot of you are making him out to be? No. I was expecting like a 30-30 season from him. 60 points would have been my marker. He probably will fall a little bit shy of that. But you saw tonight, he does drive play. He drew penalties. Yes, I want him to score more too, and he's in a horrible slump right now. He is. But, to say the guys, all these things you guys are saying is just wild. Keeping up the Devils, we keep on getting goalied. To some extent, I think, DeSmith was in the zone tonight. We easily could have had probably 4 or 5 goals. And it sucks. It's another night we made a goalie look spectacular. Darren says this team is just not good enough. That could be the case. Nicole, we showed up in the third, but we need to see effort sooner. Completely agree. The first periods, we sleepwalk through first periods routinely. I don't know what the hell we need to do, Keefe needs to do to get the team flying early. It seems like we just sleepwalk through first periods. If we're lucky, we'll get out of the period tied. And more times than not, like tonight, we'll be down and then have to chase for the rest of the game. And when you're chasing against a team like Dallas, who's a very, very good team, one of the top kind of cup favorites at the moment, they're not going to make it easy. And the Devils had a little comeback push at the end there. That third goal really was a backbreaker. Not a great goal by Allen, but I can't blame Jake Allen for this either. He kept us in the game and made some big saves when it mattered most. I mean, we could have easily given up 5 or 6 goals tonight, I think, easily. And Allen made a ton of big saves. Val, because we kept shooting at poor angles, sometimes when it seems like we're getting quote-unquote goalied, I don't mind when if guys chuck shots from bad angles and just try to get a lucky deflection or a rebound or something. I'd much rather see bad angle shots than guys being hesitant to shoot and where you see them passing around and always looking for the fancy highlight play. So if it's between that or just chucking everything on net, I'm always going to vote for chucking everything on net. But obviously, yes, tons of shots that had virtually no chance of going in without some sort of divine intervention in the form of a deflection, ricocheting off someone's skate or something like that. But man, Stanislav, hello all. I missed the game and I'm not sorry about it. You missed another tease. You missed the latest tease by the New Jersey Devils, a late push that resulted in a loss. Roman Czechmatic Mercer is the worst top 6 scorer in the NHL. Well, first of all, he's not a top 6. But Palat as well cannot be relied on for anything. Our best prospects have no use to the team. Casey and Nemitz are basically trade bait if we want to get better. I would never trade both of them. I certainly would entertain trading Nemitz. I think Casey should be a keeper. He's going to provide some of that mobility and offense from the blue line that we're not going to have much of outside of Luke Hughes when Dougie Hamilton is gone. And at some point, Dougie will be gone. And I think Casey will be very valuable in that department. So I would prefer to trade Nemitz. But at this point, I honestly don't even know what his value is anymore. Unfortunately. Dire Straits, they actually didn't show up. It was one line and 2 defensemen that showed up. The rest of the team did nothing. Evan, the second goal by Dallas, refs lifted to them on that call, but we need thicker skin here. It's the breakdowns that kill us, but we carried a lot of play. They did, but in the end, you need to score goals. That's all that matters, and all these other things are nice. And again, I do find, not that it makes me feel much better, but there's a difference between not being able to finish and score goals and just and playing like shit. They didn't play like shit tonight. They just couldn't finish. But we have seen the games where they were just completely outplayed and they looked completely terrible. That wasn't the case tonight. They had tons of chances. What did I say? The shots were 33 shots. I mean, yeah, a lot of them were crap, but a lot of them were not. And DeSmith won the game for them. Keeping up with the Devils, talking about winning a playoff series. If Markey returns the same man, I think he can steal a series. 1,000%. 1,000%. I was very pumped when the Markstrom rumors came up last year. And I said the reason I want him is because he is a guy that will give you a chance to win on most nights. He can be an X factor. He could steal games and he could steal series. I 1,000% believe in that. Hopefully, whenever he returns, he looks like the Markstrom that we saw in December and early January before he went down with injury. Jay Snow, we're too damn small and it's becoming so apparent. Again, this I have talked about at length with my friends before I even had this channel. And I've been talking about it on the channel since the origin of it. Undersized finesse guys can only get you so far. You need some physical guys. And again, everyone now is on the Brady Tkachuk train, it seems, after watching his impact in the Four Nations tournament. You need dogs like that. And we have Nason and Cotter, but it's still not enough. I would love to see another 1 or 2 guys like them added. We have the high-end skill finesse guys, but we need more of those gritty grinder types that could physically take over a game, because we all know that most of the guys in our top 6 are not that type of guy. Ritter, Mercer, and Nemitz need to be packaged and shipped out before their value is total shit. Brendan, we dead-ass played well. There were a few bad plays that killed us. Timo, empty net goal, nobody on the Donov goal 1. Nemitz overall, ass-nest plus we can't finish. Chico, I really don't think the effort was the problem tonight. They were just not making good puck decisions. I could agree with that for the most part. And again, DeSmith, we made him look like the second coming. Captain Mafungo, what's up? I was late to the game, only caught the last 5 minutes of the third. Also saw that the Rangers got their balloon popped. Yeah, Rangers got worked over, and the Devils with another too little, too late comeback attempt. And here we are again with loser beverages. Terrible. BC, Mercer, Palat, Hall, Bash, and Tatar. You could jettison them all and not even see a difference. Probably. I mean, listen, I still think Mercer, everyone's been so down on Mercer. I just, the rest of the bottom six, for the most part, I do think like you could just replace with almost any regular bottom six guys, and there's not going to be much of a difference. Obviously, they've struggled to provide offense all season long, but I still believe in Mercer, and I do think he's a valuable piece as much as people hate on him. No, not a loser beer, Jeff, but loser beverages. I got the loser vodka. Val says need a lot of painkiller tonight, AC. Yeah, it's painful. I'm still a little, I'm not going to lie, guys. I was very, very invested in that Four Nations tournament. I believe, again, for those of you that have been watching me for a while, I made a video, I think the day after it was announced, like a year ago, talking about how pumped I was for it. I completely fell in love with best on best international play during the 96 World Cup. Again, if you're a younger fan and you don't know about it or whatever, go on YouTube and either watch the full games or the highlights. The 1996 World Cup was absolutely phenomenal. It was the summer after the Devils won their first cup, and so now here I am as a young kid, just got into the Devils in 1994. They win the cup in year 2, and then 1996, there's this international tournament, and USA wins the World Cup in an absolute battle against Canada, and I was hooked on best on best. Love the Olympics, love the World Cups. I was super pumped when they announced they were doing the Four Nations, and I was very invested. I went to all the games in Boston, including the championship game, and I'm still a little down in the dumps from that, even though, again, it is a NHL-invented new tournament. The teams really played like they wanted to win, and it became a very big thing for the league, a huge home run for the league. So I'm still a little gloomy about that, and then our boys come back tonight and lose this painful one. Evan, this road trip will show us what we really are, about 5 games, mix of clubs. We need to win at least 3 of these. We have won a couple of big ones versus Nashville. Start this trip with a big win. Yeah, tomorrow, again, I don't like using the must-win moniker, because unless it's a playoff elimination game or a game you need to win to qualify for the playoffs, nothing is a must-win, and I think it's overused. But I would call it's what I would classify as a real, you really got to win. Not a must, but you really got to win. And tomorrow is a big one. Keep it up with the Devils. Whoever said they play terribles in the clouds. I know you like the hits count, though. Yeah, for sure. And they got to keep that up. So give me 40 hits a game. But they still got to do all the other things and finish. And tonight was not a night for finishing. Roman Checkmonic, I don't think it really matters if the Devils play terrible or not. I think just the results really matter for these guys. They eventually play terrible if they don't have success. Anonymous, 4-1 on the road trip. Yes, I know it's laughable, but you never know. Sign me up for 4-1. Brian J, this team isn't going anywhere this year. We all see how soft they are. In the offseason, hopefully we could get rid of Palat, Mercer, Lazar, Bash, and Hall and restructure Timo contract. We need scorers. I don't think we're getting rid of all of those guys in one offseason. GJ Zito, now I'm more worried how they handle the Allen situation, where if he plays 40 games, we lose a second rounder. That's the least of my worries right now, but he's not going to play 40 games. I think he's at let's see. I'd be stunned if he played 40 games. He's at 21 games, guys. We only have 24 games left. He's not playing 19 of the next 24 games. Never happening. Stanislav, I know Luke is young, but I don't like to call him inexperienced. He has been on the team for almost 2 seasons. He has less than 2 seasons of it. That's a young defenseman, my friend. Defensemen typically take longer to adjust to the NHL. He has 132 games played. He essentially has exactly a season and a half. That's not exactly, tons of experience. That's still a very young defenseman in the league. BC says tomorrow has L written all over it. I certainly hope not. Yeah, Captain Mafungo, defensemen take longer to develop. Exactly. A year and a half is still very, very early in a defenseman's career. Evan wins in Nashville and Utah, and then let's get payback versus Dallas. Vegas will be a tough one. Colorado, we've been okay there. That would be a huge win. Brian J, SST will never say a bad thing about Timo. The analytics prove it. And again, I've had the same. If you don't, I will agree to disagree. Do I think Timo's a little bit overpaid? Absolutely, but I'm not going to fault him for that. Furthermore, he does a lot of other things. We wouldn't have had either of the power plays without him tonight. Granted, everyone's going to say, "What does it matter? We lost," but he drives play. He draws penalties. He makes us difficult to play against. Our team would be much worse without him in the lineup. That is a fact. Shout out to those of you that recognize this. A lot of you do not, and it's okay. I'm not going to change your mind, and you're not going to change mine. Do I think he's slightly overpaid? Sure. But is he some terrible player, and he should be a fourth liner, and all the nonsense that you people say? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ryan says, no, I agree. No, I agree, Ace. I was there. Effort wasn't the problem tonight. No, the problem was finishing. That's it. And unfortunately, that's been a problem on a lot of nights. They got to figure out a way to start burying these pucks because it's the same story way too many times this season. Louis, I don't really care how they played at this point. No more moral victories. They need to just win. And I agree with you there as well. I'm not trying to make moral victories. I'm just trying to say that, despite playing a decent game, they just lost. And the loss, I'd rather play a bad game and win, honestly. All that matters is the end result. Stanislav, Ace, I feel sorry for your liver, even though Dirty Devil is smooth as hell. Yeah, it's taking a punishing. It's taking a punishment as of late. Jeff says, Devils have the 8th hardest remaining schedule according to the hockey guy. Yeah, we've known that for a while. But again, the Devils typically play better against better teams. We've struggled with lower level teams for quite a while. Again, another disturbing trend that hopefully, can change. Dire Straits Columbus is going to become a big problem. Yeah, they're going to be right on our heels down this whole stretch. And at this point, I would be happy to hang on to a wild card spot. As much as it sucks, and as much as I believe that, or thought at least, we could have caught Carolina, they got to start stringing wins together. And losses like tonight aren't going to help. 24 games left. And I think someone said, yeah, Carolina's losing. Big. I mean, wow. Another chance to close the gap on them that was squandered. It seems like every time they lose, we also lose. Paulie Walnuts, outshot, out hit, and one more faceoffs. Didn't play terrible, just can't finish score. I agree. Thanks for posting videos. Yeah, I try despite all the negativity. Evan, Colorado will be very hard, but we've won there. Let's start in Nashville and try and build some momentum. This was just a tough loss. Painful. Painful. Jeff, see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully you're in a better mood after a W. I certainly hope so. SJ, what's going on? Nice seeing Nico again. Absolutely. He won some big faceoffs all night long. And, yeah, the team is much better with the captain in the lineup, obviously. Rob says, not enough heart and grit, and I agree with you. I would love to get one or two more, heart and soul gritty guys like Paul Cotter and Stefan Nason. 2 more guys like that would do wonders on this team. John Fay, I will say, though, Jack with 2 rippers was beautiful to watch, even though we lost. Of course. And it would have been phenomenal had we found a way to tie the game late. But another painful loss. Nicole, I like the core. I'd like to see some bigger, tougher guys added. That's all I've wanted for years. Again, love the speed, finesse, skill guys we have. You're not going to win with just that, especially in the playoffs. You need the Cotters. You need the Nasons. You need size, you need heart, you need fight. You need those dogs, and we don't have enough at the moment. I'm hoping Fitzy could get us at least 1, if not 2. Man, we're about 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. Oh, it's going to be crazy around these parts then. It is going to be crazy around these parts. Evan, I said prior to the break, Jared McCann is the target. He scored some game winners in Florida. Great win for that Seattle team cross country. I like McCann. I don't know if it's going to be possible. If he is truly getting shopped, I do think a lot of people are going to be vying for his services, and it could be a high price that we're not able to pay, especially that we don't have a second rounder right now for this season. Obviously, we lost it in the Markstrom deal. Louis, the problem isn't that Timo is overpaid, is that he is one of 3 or 4 guys that are overpaid. In terms of cap space, you're correct. I mean, obviously, Palat Dougie's a little bit overpaid as well. There's some others as well, but there's no team in the league that doesn't have some contracts that are overpayments. It's just not possible. And so you could make the argument that Brad is underpaid. You can make the argument that Jack Hughes is underpaid. So it's just one of those things. You're not going to have favorable contracts for every guy on your roster. It just doesn't happen. Jeep 78 Devils had a 73% deserve to win meter. It doesn't surprise me. Woodson, 3 or 4 guys are overpaid with no trade contracts. Fitz is an idiot. Chico, Timo's not a bad player. He's playing well, but that just frustrates me more. 1 goal in 18 games is just not good enough. And if there any other player on the team, you'd be angrier about it, Ace. I mean, the guy's getting chances. I mean, I like that. He got robbed on the. It's unfortunate. And I'm not making excuses for him. He has to score more. I agree with everyone who's talking smack, but some of these shots, you're like, how are they getting saved? Even the one, was it I forget what kind of shot it was. It was down low, and DeSmith got it with his pad. It was like a straight up robbery. I mean, wow. He's had some horrible luck as of late. I'm hoping he could turn it around very soon. That was very painful, as was a lot of the other chances that we had. A lot of guys had good chances that didn't find the back of the net. There was that. Did Nico? I think there was one late. It may have been Nico, like deflected it towards net. I think it was it may have been right before the penalty. So many chances, and DeSmith was just seeing everything. Chico, Jake Allen had to have that third Dallas goal, in my opinion. I agree with that. That was not a good goal. Evan, this game was nothing like our home loss to Vegas. We just couldn't get that finish, but DeSmith I thought was excellent. Yeah, he was. He made a lot of big saves, and, let me see. Who were the players of the game? He should have been one. He didn't get one. Harley got the 3rd star. Duchesne got the 2nd, and Jack Hughes got the 1st star. John Fay asks Jay Snow, how many seasons would you give Fitz before you would give him the boot? Keeping up with the Devils, Hughes, Nemitz, Casey, Salive are also young. Give them time. They are children. I agree with all that, but in the meantime, we need to find a way to win now. I mean, our core is aging. There's no guarantee that Nico sticks around when his contract's up. There's a lot of things at work here, and Fitz should be operating as a win now guy, I think. I'm not saying to go take on, expensive rentals for the playoffs, but if we're able to get some depth pieces that don't cost a lot or guys with some term, it's time to trade future pieces for win now pieces. SJ, to be fair, Dallas is a legit contender. The Devils were right there. Yeah, I mean, again, this wasn't, it doesn't really matter either way, but, it wasn't, they're not a bad team. It's not like we're losing to another bad team. They are amongst the cream of the crop in the NHL. And we did give them a good fight, and we were right there till the very end. And unfortunately, it didn't go our way. Keeping up the Devils, when goaltending isn't a problem, something else comes up. That absolutely happened. I got to skip ahead here. I fell behind. Oh, my God. SST asking for Instagram handles. My God. Have a drink of water, bud. Have a drink of water, bud. I'm so sorry, Marta. I'm so sorry. Woodson says SST asking for the Gmail would have been more proper. Oh, man. Feelings on Palat? I mean, he's forced on a line that he has no business being on. Let's be real. And it's hurting Brad and Jack. I would love to see something figured out there. But yeah, Woodson, the hate on Mercer, dude gets paid to be a third liner and a scoring like, but everyone expects him to be a top 6. Another time I agree with Woodson. I don't know why people, again, what are the expectations of Mercer? I would love to know. SJ, oh yeah, you were there. Sorry, Ace USA, we're so close. Oh, it was painful. Friggin' painful. So Mercer is one of the players on a team who was able to do a little bit of everything. Yeah, you could put him on a power play. You could put him on a penalty kill. You could put him up. You could put him out there late to protect the lead. I like Mercer. I've defended him a lot. I feel like he's another guy that gets a lot of hate, and I'm not sure why. Marta, I will be going to the Olympics. I'm super pumped for that, and this Four Nations was a nice little precursor to that. Keep it up. The Devils, NBA, and NFL could learn a thing from the Four Nations. I don't know. I mean, how maybe the NBA I could see, but how would the NFL? What could the NFL do in terms of kind of trying to copy the format? Woodson says SST desperate, like the Devils fans begging for a trade. Mark Ace, I know you like to give Jake Allen some love, but let's face it, he sucks. Devils try to mount a comeback, and he gives that extra goal, which is his MO. He's done that too many times. I have to disagree, Mark. He made some huge saves too. I mean, we could have given up 5 or 6 goals tonight. I'm not blaming this loss on Jake Allen whatsoever. Was that an untimely goal to give up when we were trying to mount a comeback? Yeah, it sucked. And it wasn't a great goal, but the Devils have deserted him time and time again. And he came up with a lot of big saves. And there was a breakaway. There was a bunch. He made a bunch of great saves. Cyril says, bro, Allen has been excellent. Yeah, I think so too. And I think his numbers support it. I get the frustration with giving up that untimely goal. But, I mean, to say that the loss is on Jake Allen or that he's bad, I think is just crazy. Chico, regarding the 4-1 is laughable. That's the thing, though. It's not. Would any of us be surprised if this team whipped out a 5-game winning streak? The talent is there. It's just about adaptation. Yeah, for me, yes and no. Just because we haven't won 4 games in a row in over 2 years. So I would be a little shocked if we rattled off a 5-game winning streak. Listen, I would love to see it. And I think they should be capable of doing it. But for whatever reason, putting together a lengthy streak is something that hasn't happened in over 2 years. Insane. Pollock, Matthews being in his own head that he had 3 chances to win the game. Oh, man. That one that Binnington got, I think Binnington got lucky, honestly, because it came so quick. Matthews had that point-blank chance that he robbed. I thought that was game. I was getting ready to celebrate. It was painful. Anonymous. Pipe dream, but Rantanen will be a UFA if Canes can't sign him, as will Kakko and Trent Frederick. Wouldn't hate seeing them in Devils red. Kakko is bottom 6 depth. There's no chance we're getting Rantanen. 0 chance. I don't even know why people are talking about this. The guy wants like $14 million a year. I don't think he's worth it, and the Devils will certainly never pay him that, and for that, I am thankful. You could spend that money so much better than on Rantanen. He's a good player, not the type of player that's going to have a huge impact on this team, and we need some bulls. We need some bulls. Dire Straits said, I'd be shocked if they win 5 in a row. Shocked. John Fay, I don't see us beating Colorado. They have 2 amazing ex-Devils goalies who are playing their asses off. Any given night, though. Any given night, the boys could get hot. Chico, just make the playoffs. I don't care if it's by winning the Metro or in the second wild card. Just make the playoffs. That's kind of where I'm at now. Like, just make the playoffs and hope we could make a run of it. Missing the playoffs would be catastrophic, and I would probably, like I've said this before, I'd probably check myself into a loony bin. Joseph, Preds on a back-to-back tomorrow, too. Who did the NHL site's crazy. Let's see. And the Predators beat Colorado tonight. Wow. And Saros played. So we will likely not be seeing Saros tomorrow, which is a positive. But again, backup goalies have given us trouble all season long too. So it's like, our chances of beating Saros or the backup are probably very similar. BC, send Palat back to TB for picks. He'd probably play great for them. I'd imagine they probably don't really have an appetite to bring him back. Again, I could be wrong, but they're not going to just take him without retention or some sort of sweeteners to get them to eat that contract, because obviously the contract is very problematic. And I like Palat as a guy, and I think another thing where the people look at the money and he's just never going to live up to the money, and so all the comments come in, and I get it all. It's just an unfortunate situation for him, and there's really no winning for him at this point. I mean, there's no way he's going to ever. People are shitting on Mercer. Mercer makes $2 million less than him. So, what are you guys saying? It's just a tough situation. Woodson, 4 additions only made us a wild card team. What makes you think 2 more would make us cup contenders? At this juncture, because of our inconsistency, it would take a lot of things for me to believe we're cup contenders, but I do think 2 additions would make us a much better team. I just want to get in the playoffs and then hope Markey could steal some games and we get hot. Am I going to tell you that going into the playoffs that I think we're going to win the cup? No, but get in and see what we could do. Brian J, no, we also need skilled guys that aren't little kids that get pushed around. I agree with that as well. We need some bulls. Give me the bulls. I don't want any more small guys, and it's no offense to small guys, but we need size and we need power. We have the finesse. We have all the finesse we can handle, in my opinion. It's time to add bulk. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Mr. Devil 95, when will the gut-wrenching losses stop? They're only painful. I know. We always got to have that comeback in the tease. Keeping up the Devils' salary doesn't take away from his skill. He didn't pay himself. Again, very true. Diego, this team has no balls. You need to play hard, period. We could use a little more. I'm never shy about that. Give me some tough junkyard dogs like Nason. Hopefully Fitz has his eye on some guys. If we do not make moves to try to improve the team, I am going to be gutted. Completely gutted. Carolina coming back as we speak. Oh boy. Let me do a little reload up here. They lost 6-3. I don't want to just check something out. Was there any Slavkovsky fought tonight? That's interesting. Did Brady Tkachuk play? Brady Tkachuk did not play. Man, so many GMs are going to be hating on all these tournaments because of all the injuries. It's a shame. It's part of the game. But Aaron says Nemitz and 2 firsts for Brady. The Brady dream is dead for me. I'm done talking about it, and I don't think Nemitz and 2 firsts is getting it done anyway. If he was ever getting shopped, people would be offering wild packages. Call up Footer Beckman. They look all right. I wouldn't mind seeing Legary again. I would like to see Hallinan again. I mean, I think these guys only got Legary may have gotten 2 games. I think Hallinan got 1. But I'm definitely open to trying some Utica guys on the 4th line and maybe even the 3rd line, depending. I don't see how it could be any worse than what we have now. Jeter Toker says win now. Woodson says win in 2030. Winnie, I wish we could bring our third period game to the first period every game. Yeah. First periods have just been snooze fests. Absolute snooze fest. And then we play with urgency. Maybe they feel a little looser when they're down and they're chasing. I don't know what it is. But yeah, it would be nice to see some of that third period urgency from opening puck drop. And maybe we could start playing with a lead. What a novel concept to play a hockey game with a lead and have the other team chasing you for a change. It doesn't happen too often, but it would be nice to see. The old man says, totally agree. We need to win now. Jay Snow, I like Jack. Like Jack should be. Just got bullied in that Four Nations. I need to put on size. John Lopez, did you ask Pandora or get a sense through conversation that we ever be introduced in coaching the Devils at some point? I didn't get to that. We talked about a bunch of stuff, and I didn't have a ton of time with him. But I'm hoping to do a follow-up as well. We talked a lot about a lot of different things, but I didn't really press on the, his NHL aspirations or anything like that. Talked a lot about, his gig at BU and some of his, some of the time was with the Devils. We're kind of all over the place, but man, I love talking to those cup guys. Anytime I could chat with one of those guys that were on the cup teams, I mean, it's just so many great memories. Mr. Devil, what about leaving Jack, Nico, Brat as a line so Timo can drive his own line? Timo seemed better when he was the guy in San Jose to drive the line. I just feel it is interesting. Like, I think Jack, Nico, and Brat could be a good line, but like, what does that do for the balance? Like, I don't know. And not to mention we're super thin at center, so I just don't see it as a long-term option or a feasible option long-term. But I'm sure we're going to see a couple different types of line combinations down the stretch of the season until we hopefully find some stuff that clicks. Would you trade Timo for Brady? I'm done with the Brady. Brady, it would cost so much for Brady now. The price for Brady was already sky high if he was ever to get traded. After that Four Nations tournament, the price went up even more. Even more. I just read that. John Fay, speaking of power play, Ace, I think our power play needs a big tweaking badly, and I need badly. I like Nason, but I think he could be on power play too. Or find a way to have Nason and Timo on power play one. But again, like all of us were saying from last year, put Timo on the right side and put him on power play one and let him hang out in that circle and just rip clappers. His shot from the circle on the power play is lethal, and that's how he was doing damage in San Jose. The evidence is there. I'm not suggesting something, out of thin air or some wild concept. The proof has been there. Put him on the power play and let him start ripping lasers. It is what it is. Figure out how to, incorporate him into power play one, because I think it's a damn shame that we are not utilizing him in that way. Paulie Walnuts, don't forget to hit the like button. It's not Ace's fault that this team can't win and never heard of a winning streak. Thanks for that, Paulie. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Ryan Johnson, and the Canes loss would be nice to pull up to them. Yeah, it seems like every time they lose, we also lose. We got to close the gap. It would be nice to take their second spot. Washington is just going to have a vice grip on the division. I mean, wow. Let me check something else on the scoreboards here. Yeah, Caps crushed the Pens. Wow. Roman Checkmonic, I will hit the like button to mitigate Ace's suffering. Thanks. John Fay, I really think Allen can hold the fort down. We just need to finish on plays like odd man rushes or power plays and even strength. Ryan Johnson, we aren't getting Rantanen. We aren't getting a big move. You all need to relax. We are getting bottom six players at best. I agree. I don't see them doing any sort of big shakeup and trading a big piece. You never know, but I'm not counting on it. I'm thinking we probably get one bottom six player. I would like to get two. If I had to bet on it, I would probably bet that we get one, but I hope he proves me wrong and we get two. But as far as like top six additions go, for the people expecting those, I think you are going to be disappointed because I don't see it happening. Rantanen is getting dealt before the deadline, but the Canes made an offer. Yeah, I saw the articles coming out that they might trade him. I mean, very bizarre situation. I would have thought that before making that trade, they would have had a better kind of understanding of what type of deal it was going to take to get him. For them to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he wants all this money when it was pretty much known, I think it's a little bit odd. Or maybe there's just something about him that they don't think it's a good fit and they didn't know it until he got there. But either way, if he gets dealt, that would be super interesting. Dire Straits, Carolina might have messed with their team's chemistry. It's definitely a possibility. Anytime you make a move like that, Nate just was there for a while and they, decided to move on from him to bring in Rantanen. Maybe it does end up having a net negative impact on the Hurricanes. We will find out. John Fay, if they can win 5 in a row, it'll be a miracle. Evan, Boston lost at home to Anaheim. We need some scoreboard help, as you said, Ace. Yeah, we're going to need a lot of it down the stretch. But the thing is, there's so much parity in this league. Other teams are probably going to struggle as well. It's not something exclusive to the Devils. Obviously, you don't want to, rely on other teams losing for you to get into the playoffs. But the reality is, if the Devils they still think they have to win 15 out of now 24. It was 15 out of 25. That'd be 15 out of 24. You're going to need some help along the way, too. Jack, have to win tomorrow or else we're going to be real iffy on the next couple. Mark, I think the Devils will do well against Nashville tomorrow, but they're going to get hammered by Colorado. I hope not. Woodson Saros has been a bust. Glad we didn't break the bank for him. I mean, he's also playing on a bad team, though. Let's see. What are his numbers on the year? I'm perfectly fine with the Markstrom to then one of the kids. Tons of guys in the farm system or the system overall. Poulter, and we talk about this all the time. One of those young goalies has to step up and claim the net in the post-Markstrom era. Louis, backup is Wedgwood. No, Wedgwood's on the Avs now. They got the Woods. They got Blackwood and Wedgwood. Samuel says Dawes tomorrow. I'd have to believe so. I'd have to believe we see Dawes tomorrow. Maybe they go back to Allen. It'd be astonishing in the analytics era, though, if they let a goalie like Allen play back-to-back. I'd have to believe it's Dawes. Keeping up with the Devils. Palat is the type of dude that is useful in the playoffs. I agree, but again, got to make the playoffs first. Meadowlander, I'm probably the oldest guy in this chat, and I've seen a lot of international play against Canada. The outcome is always the same. Play is close until a Canadian megastar steps up. Who is USA megastar? Well, the U.S. megastar really is probably Austin Matthews. I would say he's the only megastar. And then in terms of stars, I would call both the Tkachuk brothers stars. Megastar, though, I would say Matthews. And then, they have Sid is a megastar, and McKinnon's a megastar, and McDavid's a megastar. Makar's a megastar, in my opinion, as well. I mean, they have him on the blue line. Canada's just so stacked. Aaron, if Nemitz is on the ice tomorrow, this management is complete S. I really hope we see Seamus Casey get a look tomorrow, and I think that's why he was brought up to practice with the team and is going to be with the team, is because I do think that, Keefe and Fitz were keeping a close eye on Nemitz to kind of see how this was going to play out, and he only had those couple games or a few games, whatever it was, before the break. Then we had the break. And they're like, let's just keep Casey around and see. Coming on a back-to-back, I would think tomorrow is a grand time to pull Nemitz out, throw Casey in there, and let's see what he's got. Dire Straits says, yeah, Meadowlander, I believe it was supposed to be Austin Matthews, but his tournament was lackluster. I mean, but by his tournament, you mean 3. He played 3 games. Jack Plot is going to get bought out. 2 of 7, 8, 17, 24 will be gone by next year. One of the core forwards will be moved. Mercer 50-50 shot of being dealt. I don't think one of the core forwards will be moved. I'm assuming we're talking about the same core forwards. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, nicohischier, Timo Meier. I do not think any one of them will be moved. John Woodson, imagine being Palat and 33 years old and watching Jack never attempt a board battle, leaving you all alone to dig pucks out. He's got to embrace the physicality. It really is not optional. Dire Straits, I will say Keefe has gotten Jack Hughes to be a penalty killer. There's more structure on the team, but there's zero offense. I think that's more of a Fitz thing, though. Got to score. Got to put the puck in the net. John Fay, I think Ace just wants the junkiest of dogs on our team at this point, and who can blame him with the way we have been playing? So I can say, yes, we need two more junkyard dogs, if no junk here. Yeah, that's how you win close battles, and especially in the playoffs. The roster as is right now, I do think is too soft for the playoffs. Could they maybe win a round? Maybe, probably. They could upset anybody. But when the playoffs just get absolutely brutal, and we saw it in the Four Nations, that tournament played like a grueling playoff. Almost all the games. You need those guys, and we don't have enough of them. J-Dog, I missed the game. How did we play? We played decent, I thought. We just another night where we couldn't bury the puck, and we made a backup goalie look like the second coming of the great Martin Brodeur circa 1999. Tons of chances, couldn't bury him. DeSmith looked great, and that's all she wrote. We had more shots than them. We out-hit them. We beat them in the face-off circle. We just could not put pucks in the net until it was too late. Jack Nemitz should go while he has some value. Can't make the same mistake they did with Holtz. He's a young right shot D with a lot of value. Still deal him while we have a surplus of right-handed D. I would too, but I think his value might already be way down from what people think. I mean, having the guy in the AHL for the majority of the season and then having the tapes out there of him struggling is not going to, necessarily get you the greatest return for him. And if we have to trade him for something if you can't get anywhere near what his value should be, then maybe it's not worth it. But I'm fully on board for cashing him in for a win now piece. Chico, the Senators are never trading Brady, especially if they make the playoffs this year. I agree as well. Maybe at some point he kind of forces his way out, but I don't think it's anytime soon. The fact that they are relevant again and, in the thick of the playoffs, I just can't see it. I just can't see it. He would really have to force their hand because outside of that, I don't think it's going to happen. And let me reload. Oh man, that loss hurt them tonight though. They're in that. They're fighting for that wild card. Ooh. Through 57 games played, they have 62 points. Yeah, they're going to need a wild card. I think Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Florida are going to peel away, and so that's going to leave them in a real dogfight. Yeah. Detroit with 62 points in 56 games. Senators have 62 points in 57 games. Columbus has 57 points and 62 points rather in 57 games. The Bruins are right there. The Rangers aren't too far behind. Islanders have 57 points in 55 games, so they got some games in hand. I mean, it's going to be – this is what the league wants. They want all these teams in the mix. Shit, even the Canadians and Flyers aren't dead. Big loss for the Pens tonight. Carson, well, at least we can say that our team are not the Rangers. I mean, we're not that much better off, if I'm being honest. Jay Snow, both Kachucks were healthy. They beat Canada. I am so pumped for the Olympics because I'm hoping we have both Kachucks healthy, plus Quinn Hughes, and then maybe some of the bottom, like the Trotreks and Kreiders need to be shoved out of there for guys like Jason Robertson and Tage Thompson. With the revamped roster going to Italy for the Olympics, I think the USA-Canada games are going to be phenomenal. Just phenomenal hockey. It's going to pick up right where they left off in that Four Nations final. How many times are we going to hear too little, too late? Well, we've heard it a lot already. Hopefully we don't hear it too much longer, but it's been an unfortunate reoccurring theme on the season. M. Sharp would love to see a graphic on Jack's mileage in a game. He definitely skates a shitload throughout a game for sure. I'm sure those things are out there. You could look it up. There is a site that has it, I believe. I think they call it, is it the Next Gen Stats? You could find it. Jack McCabe, the fourth line is completely different next year. I'm going to be so happy. Yo, Holmes, you almost need Utica forwards to play to showcase them in hopes of trying to trade. I don't even think we have any Utica forwards that would have any sort of real trade value. I mean, if you're talking about in terms of making a trade that's going to have an impact on the NHL team, I don't think there's any guys in Utica really that have any sort of real value to help get win now pieces. I mean, who in Utica has value? I would say not many. Nicole, can we talk about the odd moments of Dallas guys falling behind the play tonight and holding our guys' stick in odd ways? I was at the game. I don't know if it showed on TV, but it was weird. I saw a weird one where I forget who it was. Dougie Hamilton got tied up with somebody, and they were laying on each other behind the play for a while, and I was waiting for a penalty or something. And I think eventually, Dougie was kind of on him. It was very weird. I did notice a couple of these kind of strange things, but I'm sure a lot of them were never on TV. Obviously, when you're at the game, you get to see the stuff that's not on the screen. And so that is interesting. Maybe that's a tactic they use. Jack, when are we going to see an opening 10 minutes where the Devils are totally dominating right out of the gate, scoring a few goals and playing efficient and effective? Seems like we'll never get there. Never say never. I'm hoping soon, obviously, like everybody else, but the slow starts have been painful. Anonymous, Hall, 3.1 million with 11 points, and Mercer makes less than 1 million more, is 10 years younger and has a higher plus minus and 25 points. Played more games, but the hate needs to chill on Merce Dog. I agree with that, but it just does it. For whatever reason, he's been picked as a whipping boy. Evan, I would like to see Casey back in the lineup as well. Also, where's McDermott? Love him in the lineup for edginess, grittiness, huge. I gave up on that. You guys all know. I think McDermott brings an element, and the team is just a different demeanor, and he's going to be used very sparingly. And so, in the end, it does seem like I'm going to say it's a bad signing by Fitz because you're paying him to not play him. So, if he played, and again, when you play him, it gives guys like Jack some extra shifts throughout the game. I would like to see McDermott more as well. Rob, our guy Yegorov won again tonight. Sweet. Oh yeah, I'll have some nice another video coming out with some warm up footage of him. I saw him at Boston University. I saw him record his first collegiate shutout last Saturday night against the Providence Friars in Boston. He looked very good. I think he's going to be the real deal. It's super early, and I'm not going to make the crazy comparisons that many are making, but Mikhail Yegorov of Boston University looks like he is going to be a gamer. He looks like he's going to be a gamer for sure. CBJ won tonight. Yeah, they're going to be right on our heels, guys. Right on our heels. Yo, Holmes says, trade Mercer and watch him win cups with other teams. Mercer is the man. NJ's system is clown shoes. Country Club Keefe is no bueno. Oh, boy. Fentanyl Floyd says, Hall and a 7th for McDavid. I'm all in on that trade. Let's make it happen. Put Jack on Nico's right wing, load up the top line, put Nason or Cotter on the left side, and have Timo and Bratt on a second line. Need a legitimate 2C in that scenario, though. Yeah, we're already super thin at center. I can't see Jack not playing center anytime soon. And honestly, I think he prefers to play center, and I don't think he is as effective on the wing. Not to mention, I think he'll get pummeled a lot more. Jack says Holla can't be a top 9 center either. Yeah, I think he's more fit to be a 4th line center. Ritter says, I've been saying that. Mr. Devil, unless the Sens are brain dead, they're not trading Brady. Put it to rest. Yeah, I'm done talking about it. After It didn't happen that in the offseason when we had the 10th overall pick. I thought that made sense. After that, I kind of let it go. Especially because Ottawa's relevant again. Now, if Ottawa misses the playoffs, which again, they're in a very tight spot as well. It's probably a coin flip for them at this juncture. If they miss again, I think the chatters will get louder, and Brady may go to management and say, I gave it my all. It's time to go. Or maybe he gives them one more season. But at some point, if they can't get over the hump and at least make the playoffs, I think he is going to want to, force his way out of there. And I wouldn't blame him. He's been in the league for a while now and hasn't played in a single playoff game. Anonymous, can we take a second to be pissed at Sullivan for benching Connor for Kreider against Canada? Yeah, I thought that was an odd decision as well. I think in the end, they may have put more of an emphasis on, I don't know, veteran leadership or who knows? Who knows the real thought process behind that? But I was a little stunned by that as well. Connor's a beast. And anytime you could get some, offensive firepower in the lineup, oh my God, he's doing better this year than I even thought. Yeah, he has 30 goals and 39 assists for 69 points in 56 games played. Yeah, I mean, his offense could have helped. Had they been able to score a third goal in regulation, they win in regulation. Man, what a classic game, though, but it sucks. Sucks that they lost that. Jack, get McCann, O'Reilly, or Schenn totally prepared to give up Nemitz, if not more, for any of those players. O'Reilly's a little old. I think could I do it for McCann? I mean, at this point, I feel like, I really, up until probably last week, I really didn't want to deal Nemitz unless it was for a substantial piece. At this juncture, I think I'm lowering my personal bar to deal him. And a guy like McCann at 28, I would include him in a deal for McCann. I don't know about O'Reilly or Schenn. Schenn's 33. Yeah, no. See, that's a little too old for me. 28 is nice. 28 is nice. I would include him in a deal for him if you had to. I love O'Reilly too, but he's 34. I can't part with Nemitz in a deal like that. But 28 years old, McCann, I would do it. Jack says Mercer and Nemitz for McCann and Tanev. I would love to get McCann, but again, I always talk about, I think it's a lateral move. We need more. We need to replace some of our forwards. And I don't know. I think it would be a mistake to move on from Mercer. I really do. Mr. Devil, trade Nemitz now while he has some value before it's too late. Don't see any flashes of good things from him. And as a second overall pick, major red flag, should be dominating the AHL and is not. Will we see benching of Nemitz for Casey tomorrow? I think so. And I think it makes sense. Nemitz didn't look good tonight. Casey, while he struggled a little bit in our D zone earlier on in the season, he showed a lot of upside. Beautiful toe drag shot, good vision, good speed, can move the puck. I'm hoping we see Seamus Casey tomorrow. We'll find out. Keeping up with the Devils says it's going to be Yegorov, no doubt. I mean, Poulter and Dawes are still going to be in the mix, as is Jacob Malik and Brennan. We have a lot of guys. You never know what could happen. I still think Yegorov is probably 2-3 years away, at least. And there's going to be some other guys. Dawes is well, who knows? It all depends on what happens at Markstrom, but Dawes seems like the favorite at the moment. Jack, Luke and Nemitz can't be a pair. Recipe for disaster. Put Casey in for Nemitz and put him on the left. Pesci back with Luke, Casey with Kovacevic. It's interesting. Mark, hey Ace, give us a prediction on the upcoming road trip. Oh boy. Let's take a look. The upcoming road trip. So you got Preds, Avs, Utah. Yeah, this is brutal. I'm going to go 3-2. 6 out of 10 points. Jack says, put Casey in, needs some kind of offensive jolt. It's sad that we're looking to our blue line for offense, right? But the reality is, when you are in a drought like this and goals are hard to come by, give me a guy like Casey any day. He is a threat every time he's out there, and I would love to see him get a crack tomorrow. Maybe he comes in, he looks amazing, and there's no looking back. He looked phenomenal early on in the season. Again, he did get, he's a little small and, all these things. And again, being inexperienced, there was some times where he got pinned in our own end. But you got to take the good with the bad. I think his offensive upside is worth giving him another look. Just be honest, Ace Matthews is meh. I mean, listen, was he the dynamic Austin Matthews? Absolutely not. But again, 3 games, he was injured. Who knows if he was injured in that last game? He didn't play the game against Sweden. So it's hard to, it's 3 games. Did I expect a little more from him? Yeah, but I could say that about most guys. People are, who was really great on Team USA? I would say Brady Tkachuk. Evan, quite a bit of chatter on availability of a Jordan Kyrou in offseason. Do you think too good to be true? Love this guy as well. One of my favorites in the NHL. I did see an article about that as well. I would love Kyrou. I think he would cost a fortune in trade. I'd definitely be interested. Would definitely be interested to see what it would take. But if he's available, if I'm Fitz, I'm trying to make that happen for sure. Jack, really missing guys like Boquist, Zetterlund, and Wood right now. Guys with sack who got dirty. Yeah. Woodson says, I'll give Jack credit. He does get mad quicker than others, so he cares. Yeah, he definitely cares, but it's like, what are you going to do about it? I do think, certain guys, like you see, guys that try to will their team to win. And I guess Jack does it in his own way, but we need guys that are going to do it in a more physical variety, in my opinion. Dire Straits says, it's not goalie. They can't score. It's a poorly built team offensively with zero depth. Fitz must pay. Mark, I said it before. Fitz is going to do shit. March 6th will come and go, and we'll have the same group that we currently have. I hope I'm wrong. Oh, Mark, I hope you're wrong, too. Jack, the letters on the team aren't ideal. Need some more native English-speaking guys with letters. Jack shouldn't have an A either. Too young and not a ballsy player. I mean, why do they got to be English-speaking guys, though? I don't know where that came from. But I'm trying to think. I think Bratter is going to be the next one. Whenever Palat's gone, I'm sure Bratt will be the next to get an A. And in the end, I don't think, you need a letter to lead. There's been lots of leaders throughout the New Jersey Devils history who did not necessarily have an A. And Jack said, give the A's to Dylan and Nason. I believe they are leaders on this team, even without the A. I do think often people put too much stock into the A. I think Dylan and Nason are leaders on the team, and whether they have a letter on their jersey or not, they're going to continue to operate the same way. So I don't look too much into it, but I know that people do kind of look at that as a thing, and I just think it's kind of blown out of proportion. Woodson, imagine how pissed Nason is to be on this team. I don't think he's pissed to be on the team. I think he's probably pissed about how the season is going, but he was, on a team that was very competitive every year with Rod Brendamore down in Carolina. SJ Dev's probably going to win, lose all the way to the end. They are so inconsistent. Insane Pollock, Jay Snow, do you have ever have anything positive to say anymore? I get you are disappointed, but come on, man. Jack, Nason is probably ready to kill some bottom 6 guys, complete non-factors on the bottom 6. Nason is used to winning, and now he has this garbage to deal with. Man, keeping up the Devils. I saw an article about all three Hughes having a chance to play the Olympics. I think that's true. I think that is true. I think Luke will have a chance to crack the lineup. I do think that this Four Nations tournament may have been the beginning of the end for Adam Fox. You know, Zach Werenski was a beast. He'll definitely be on the team. Faber is going to be on the team for sure, as probably will be Slavin and McAvoy. Yeah, I mean, Hannafin. Yeah, we have some really good blue liners for Team USA. Luke has a chance, but he's going to have to really turn some heads and impress between now and then. But I definitely think he has a shot. Dire Straits, I don't blame Jay Snow. The team has broken the fan base for over a decade now, and I totally get that too. That's why I keep saying I want to win now. I'm tired of talking about the future, that the window is going to be opening in this year and that year. I mean, our core is the core is getting older. Not that they're like super old or anything, but they've been around for quite a while now. And it's time to start going on playoff runs. And if you consistently kick the ball down the road and talk about the future, then you're going to be a shitty team forever. And that's what it feels like the Devils have been outside of the 2 years they made the playoffs, when Taylor Hall dragged a pretty bad team to the playoffs in 17-18 and won a Hart Trophy as the MVP of the league for his efforts. And that 22-23 season that lots of people called an anomaly, which I don't believe it was. But at this point, it's right to question that. Was that an anomaly somehow? I mean, I don't know how you get 112 points and beat the Rangers in a 7-game series, but maybe it was an anomaly. I'd like to believe it wasn't, but you never know. John Woodson, Luke won't be good enough next year to play in the Olympics. What are you smoking, keeping? I don't think it's as crazy as you think. I don't think it's a great chance, but I think there is at least a chance, Woodson. I don't think it's so ridiculous. I would say he's on the outside looking in, but I'd imagine, you know, if they make a list, he's going to be one of the first 3 or 4 guys that doesn't make it. I think he's in the conversation. Does Salayev make Nemitz expendable? I mean, to some extent, I guess you could make that argument. But for me, I'm not even with Salayev not in the picture, I would say Nemitz could be expendable just because right now we have a lot of defensemen. We need help up front, and it makes sense to then cash in your blue line prospect, or whatever you want to call him. I would still call him a prospect, for a known commodity up front. Roman, remember McDermott's entire contract can be buried in the AHL with no cap issues. Nobody should worry about him. I don't think they're going to do that, though. I think they would have already done that if that was a thing they were thinking about. I could be wrong. Insane Pollock, I am just as disappointed as a lot of you, but refuse to completely shit on the team. I am right there with you on that front as well. Jay Snow, this blows. We're looking into the future again with Yegorov. How many years of waiting for first-round picks? Scratching my head. Well, I've talked about this a million times. I am all about trading first-round picks. I went over this on a live a couple weeks ago. In the past 25 years, the Devils have just bombed horribly on first-rounders through multiple administrations, under Lou, under Shiro. First-rounders, to me, I don't value them other than the value they have in a trade for other teams that value them. I would much rather trade the first-round pick for known NHL players any day of the week. And while we don't have one this year, I certainly hope that we trade next year's pick either this year or next year and don't draft with it. Trade for known pieces. Jack McCabe, Dire Straits is a team-wide issue. Not enough guys hate losing. Nason is an exception. You have to hate losing more than you love winning in this league. Not enough guys have that sentiment. Yeah, a lot of guys look like they're just, going through the motions, and it's unfortunate. Nicole, Bischel had big hits, and I felt no one was there to answer. McDermott would have been on that, I think. Yeah, he definitely would have if he's allowed. It seemed like in some of the games that he played in that he was given orders like not to go crazy, and so it's all unfortunate. I would like to see the dogs off the leash. Some games you got to just let the dogs go and take care of business, and I think it really matters. I think he does give the team a morale boost when he's on the bench, Curtis McDermott, and maybe we'll see him at some point, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see very little of him down the stretch. Insane Pollock, the good is this team has potential. They showed it early on, and I think they'll get back to playing like they did before Christmas. Yeah, but man, that was 2 months ago, man. 2 months ago. That all of a sudden is going to come back. I hope so, but that was 2 months ago. We're grasping at straws, I feel like. Metalander, don't rule out how pissed off the Canadian people are. They're throwing hate at Gretzky. It may get dicey for Tkachuk in Ottawa. Why are they hating on Gretzky? And I think based on all the Senators fans that attacked me when I made videos talking about the potential of Brady in New Jersey, it certainly seems as though Canada loves Brady Tkachuk, or Ottawa loves Brady Tkachuk, and they would be absolutely livid and burn down the city if the team traded him. So I don't know what could possibly change that would kind of affect that, but it seems like they would riot if he's gone. Not going to bitch about it. They can and will turn it around. I certainly hope so. Robert says, I agree about Mercer. John Fay, I'm going to be real with everyone. I don't see Fitz doing anything this trade deadline because I believe we have people to sign this offseason. I'm pretty sure it could be wrong. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Mike D, what bulk do you want? They need finishers at the moment. Guys that play a hard brand of hockey. When you say finishers, I hope you don't mean top 6 guys, because that ain't coming. That is not happening. Anyone who could provide some sort of offense that's a little gritty, sign me up. John Woodson, I'm okay staying put into the summer. The price for players at the deadline will be massive. So few teams will be selling. And I've talked about this as well. So many teams are going to be in the mix trying to claw into the playoffs that I do think it could be a year where you see a record low number of sellers, and only the truly horrific teams will be in a position to sell while the other teams desperately try to get into the playoffs. It could be the case, and that will drive prices up on the guys that are made available. Jack, the Devils legitimately have 3 guys who can consistently put the puck in the net. Jack, Brat, and Nico. Timo should literally have like 10 more goals than he does, but for some reason he can't score. He's been slumping. He's been snake bitten. It's completely frustrating to watch. Wolf Rockin' 74. Sorry for being such a buzzkill. I absolutely love Ace's show no matter what, but in my opinion, this team sucks. We got our captain back and did nothing. If we don't get Markey back ASAP, we're done. Oh man, I think they played a decent game tonight, but on playing a decent game, it doesn't get you wins. What gets you wins is putting the puck in the net. They didn't do it, and it is what it is. Hopefully they get a big win tomorrow. Woodson, losing Mercer and Nemitz for a 3rd or 4th liner is a dumb move for a GM. I definitely don't want to trade Mercer. I'm definitely open to trading Nemitz. Would you trade Nemitz in a deal for McCann, Woodson? I'm curious. I'm imagining you're a big future guy. I'm thinking you're going to say no. I definitely wouldn't for O'Reilly or Shen. To me, they're way too old, but I think I dropped the bar on the Nemitz return just enough to consider it in a deal for McCann. Dire Straits, only 24 games left. Wow, this is getting scary now. Yeah, it's crunch time. It is crunch time. Jack McCabe, I read today the Blues would only be willing to move Kyrou if it was in a blockbuster that sees a player with as big of a name as Kyrou going back to St. Louis. Yeah, so what will we legitimately try to offer for that? It just doesn't seem like the Devils anytime soon are going to be in a position to bring in some of these fancy big names. Evan Burton, we still have the Tuxedo Chickens on our schedule, so we have that to look forward to. Pens and Canadians every night. We'd be on top of the standings. Yeah, we would. Yo, Holmes, NJ and the Rock is the easiest away barn to win on the entire East Coast. Our record at the Prudential Center as of late has not been very good, obviously, the past few seasons. It is troubling. Jack, yes, it is. Yo, Holmes, after seeing the Four Nations Arena atmospheres in Boston and Montreal, the Rock is pathetic. Not to mention it sits 5,000 fewer people than every other arena. Well, I don't think it's fair to compare Four Nations crowds to an NHL game. I mean, it's just a whole different animal where you have people there, rooting for their country and it's the best players in the world. It's not an apples to apples comparison, but you just watch Devils road games and you see what the atmosphere is like in some of those buildings. And it is quite often a little more ruckus than the Prudential Center is. Jack, it's so important to have a face-off guy on Jack's line. Obviously, Plot and Bratt aren't those guys. It's even worth putting Halla on that line just for face-offs. It'd be so critical if they got O'Reilly. I would love to get O'Reilly, but I don't want to give up a huge piece for him. And someone's going to overpay for him, I do think. Dylan will have the A he wore one preseason. Oh, boy, Nick Sports. Devils should tank for higher picks and more prospects. Oh, no. Oh, dear God, no. That is my worst fear. That is a fear. Dire Straits. Jack is not a winger, though. We saw that in the tournament. He struggled. He can play wing for a super line like tonight, but in the long run, he needs to stay at center. I agree with that as well. I think he would just get pounded on the wing, and I don't think that's where he would be best suited to help the team. I think he has to stay at center, and we also have no center depth whatsoever. So for all those reasons, I can't see it at all. Now, within a game, can Keefe shuffle the lines and throw out a line like Nico, Bratter, and Jack? Yeah, but as far as like a long-term thing, I don't think that's feasible either. Force, the Avs, Golden Knights, Jets, Oilers, and Stars again, even Philly are all upcoming. They'll be out of a playoff spot by the middle of March. If that happens, I will be clinical. And it might force my channel retirement, honestly. Samuel, 03 is starting to feel like 1903. I agree with that as well. We are a few months away from it being 22 years ago. It's psychotic. I remember vividly driving there with my buddy and tailgating and everything about it, going into the game and being pumped and the goal. All of it. I remember all of it. And yeah, I'm damn near 40 now, and I was 17 at the time. It does seem like a lifetime, multiple lifetimes ago. Meadowlander, Four Nations was a coming out party for Slavin and Boldy. What great. It was all. I would also say it also reaffirmed, if for people that were sleeping on Faber, what a great defenseman he is as well. But lots of young, great Americans for Team USA, and they're all going to be a big part of that Olympic team. I'm super pumped to see what Billy G comes up with, but I think it'll largely be most of the guys I think you'll see on the Olympic team, and I expect, again, Robertson and Tage Thompson should definitely be on the team for the Olympics. Jack, Keefe said himself that Hughes-Nemitz pair was bad. Wouldn't be surprised to see a change-up tomorrow. Well, I'll say this. If Nemitz is in the lineup, he 100% is not going to be paired with Luke. I just hope that we give Casey a look. I want to see Casey. Let's see what they could do. Ace, do you know the extent of the contract Keefe signed? I don't even know if was that ever made public? I don't even know if that was made public. It was a 3-year deal. A 3-year deal. So it was for this year, next year, and one more year. Woodson, first rounders are nice to have at the trade deadline when you need it for a playoff run. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm using first rounders for, is to add at the deadline. You cash in your first and you get a win now piece. Can we donate money so Jack Hughes can go to face-off winning camp? Oh, boy. Samuel, I'd keep first rounder if I had a first 5 pick. After that, I agree with you. Trade him. Yeah, top 5 pick's a different story. And obviously the Devils won how many freaking lotteries did we win? And had the high picks. But regular first rounders, I would trade. Talking about McDermott to save the team is not a good sign. I'm not saying to save the team, but he gives the team a little bit of I don't know if it's a confidence boost or a morale boost, whatever it is. When he's in the lineup, they look different on many nights. And again, the added bonus is when McDermott is in the lineup, guys like Jack and the top skill guys can pick up extra shifts. I don't see how that's ever a bad thing. Jack, if Thomas Fitzgerald does nothing at the deadline, The Rock will see another version of January 6th. You guys are nuts. I think he's going to do something, but If I'm being honest, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't. I'd be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be like totally stunned. It'd be very disappointing, and I'd be nauseous. Markey can't come back soon enough. Imagine where we would be without Markey. I think we played very mid today, competed with a team that is a high status contender. I thought they played a pretty good game. Wow, just saw that Matt Kachuk may be done for the year. Holy shit. If that's true, the Florida Panthers brass are going to try everything they can to shut down. Where did you see that he might be out for the year? If that's true, that's crazy. Left it all on the line for the U.S. Have to respect that. Oh, man, their GM is going to be furious. Completely furious. Woodson, I would trade Nemitz for McCann. It'd be better if they included Tanev on top, but they wouldn't. Well, yeah, maybe we could do like Nemitz in a some sort of late pick or a throwaway prospect. I would love McCann, and at this point, 2, 3. If someone's 3 weeks ago, a month ago, if someone said would I have included Nemitz in that deal, I probably would have said McCann wasn't dynamic enough for me. But I think in light of everything that's happened in the past few weeks, at this point, I think I would, green light that deal as well. Yeah, McCann is a 25-plus goal guy. Mm-hmm. Yo, Holmes, early on, Jacques used to shuffle the A's on the chest. It matters. I don't necessarily know that means it matters. I mean, what really, what does a letter on a jersey really mean? Kenny Danico didn't have a letter on his jersey for most of his career. I think there was like a year or two that he did wear an A, but outside of that, the majority of his career, he did not have an A, and he was hands down, one of the leaders on the team without the letter. And I think there's a lot of guys on every team that lead without having a letter. Ace bans the word tanking. I don't ban the word, but I think it's a disgusting thing to even think about if you are where the Devils are at this point. I mean, for some teams, I could see it making sense, but Yo Home says the USA program equals awesomeness. I mean, they're definitely on the rise. Definitely on the rise. Evan, we do need to start winning more at home. I mean, Buffalo has won 5 straight at home. We need to get wins for the loyal. I don't know. Keefe's deal was 3 years plus the Toronto buyout. Mucho De Niro. Evan, absolutely. Casey needs to play and play consistently. Let's see what we have here. Early returns were good. I don't need to see Nemitz right now. McDermott needs to be in there as well. Boost. Keefe not seeing year 3. I think he will. SST, A's promised 5K giveaways during 4 Nation, but saw how bad Jack hasn't decided F and I ain't doing it. No, it was more of a, I didn't plan originally on going to the, I ended up staying in Boston longer than I thought, and then I ended up going back for the championship game, which I didn't have planned either. So a lot of things happened where I just wasn't home when I thought I was going to be in that last week here. It's coming. The giveaway's coming. Jack, totally agree with your McDermott points. The team plays different with him in, but that's the big change. But if that's the big change, it's an issue. And there's a lot of issues, guys. I just want to make the playoffs, guys. I just want to make the playoffs. Vic, 100 watching and 45 likes. Damn, you guys are stingy. Come on now. Hit the button one time. One time for your boy. Spirit in the sky. God couldn't save this team. So disappointing after the start we had. I mean, it's far from over yet. I mean, don't give up yet. It's still far from over. We're still in a playoff spot. I still believe they're going to make the playoffs, but it's definitely a lot tighter than it should have been. Samuel, didn't miss a home playoff game until I moved to Florida in 2007. Moved back in 2022. Come to think of it, I haven't missed so much. No, you haven't. Unfortunately, you haven't. Jack, if the team misses playoffs or out in round 1 in an uncompetitive fashion, Keefe may go. I think at this point, the onus is on Fitz to make some moves to give Keefe a better roster. I mean, not to excuse, this, whatever you want to call it, the slide, the skid, the horrible calendar year of 2025. In reality, our bottom six is just subpar. I mean, and that might be putting it nicely. And so you might be asking Keefe to turn water into wine, if you will. I think he needs a couple more pieces to give him a fair chance. Evan, it's just one subtle but important. Otherwise, why did we even bring him to collect cobwebs? Yeah. And that could be, I'm also thinking that maybe like, it seems like Keefe is against like the rough stuff and the physicality, and that could play a part as well. Fitzy re-signed McDermott before Keefe was brought on. And I think that maybe, Keefe is not so fond of using McDermott as much as maybe Fitzgerald would have liked. I mean, we'll never have definitive answers on this, but I would like to see him in some more games. He has an effect on the team. Woodson Fitz will only sign Evans for a second rounder plus, which will be a mistake. You're saying we're only going to trade for Evans? Nicole, I don't know why everyone in these chats are so extreme. I don't think one change has ever been framed as saving the team. There are just a few tweaks that'd be helpful. I don't think it's ever one thing. Could not agree with you more, Nicole. There is no saving the team with one thing, and I never said that either, right? I agree with that sentiment completely. It's like, put McDermott in, maybe try a couple Utica guys in the bottom six, just little things that could hopefully all come together to kind of help this team find their way. But yeah, I would never suggest that putting Curtis McDermott in the lineup is going to save the team. But I do think it's just a little thing that'll give them a little boost, a little juice boost that goes a long way in a lot of games. And we've seen it all season long, and maybe he gets a chance at some point on this road trip. I'm very curious to see, what Keefe decides to do, but I'm not very hopeful for him seeing much action down the stretch. Maria D, I'm ready to see Dermy with Luke. On defense, Maria, that'll never happen. That will never happen. Jeep, Puck Empire reported this. Is this talking about the Matthew Tkachuk possibly out for the season? That'd be crazy. Dire Straits, we're extreme because the team has sucked for far too long. Devils used to be upper echelon of the NHL. Now they stink. And I agree with you as well. Being a fan through the dynasty years and knowing you're going to the playoffs every year, and it's just a matter of, can this team win the cup? How far are they going to go? And now we're sitting here talking about we just want to make the playoffs. It is a fall from grace, the ultimate fall from grace, and it is painful. And I feel bad for the people that became fans after the dynasty years and that really only know the team as struggling. That's brutal. I was spoiled. I became a fan in 94 and saw a cup nearly immediately, and then saw a team that went on great playoff runs and won 2 more cups. And even after the third cup in 03, we had some good regular season teams and teams that, won playoff rounds and stuff. And then ultimately the last kind of big hurrah was the 2012 cup appearance against the Kings. But outside of that, it's been largely pain and misery, and it stings. It really does sting. Woodson McCann is basically a replacement for Palat, but you wouldn't have the money to sign Luke and Kova. You got to see, there's some other moves that could probably be made. If McCann makes what, like $5 or $6 million? Yeah, $5 million. Jack, I do Nemitz and Mercer for McCann and Tanev. Move salary from the Devils to make room for Tanev, and you technically add a forward in the trade while getting Mercer's money off the books. Mercer at $4 million. I think that's a pretty fair price for him, and I wouldn't want to trade him. I'm against trading Mercer, unless it was a maybe not a blockbuster, but a upper echelon top 6 guy. Yo, Holmes, I have a hockey card with Danico with the C on it. I know exactly what card we're talking about. It's the 95-96 Pinnacle card. It's a Pinnacle card. He's in a red jersey, and that picture was taken during a preseason game. I remember getting that card in a pack, and I was like, wait a minute. And I forgot that he had worn the C in at least one preseason game. But that is a very cool card. It's the 95-96 Pinnacle. Dire Straits, maybe it's spoiled, but we're way past the point of that, in my opinion. Team has not done a damn thing since I graduated college. I'm 35 years old. I get it, man. I'm 39. It was my senior year of high school, and they won that cup, and that was it. Some decent teams afterwards. We obviously went to the cup finals in 12, but too many years of just missing the playoffs and sucking. It seems to me that there are some players just going through the motions. I think that could be, there's something to that. I remember when Bruce Driver was the captain. That was quite a long time ago. Wolf Rock, and I guess you're only choosing the comments where people are being kind to this shitty team later. I can't read every comment. There's so many comments in here. I'm just kind of skipping around. I can't see them all. There's a million comments. I apologize if I didn't read your comment. I've read a lot of negative comments, so I don't know what you're talking about. They do play like they have no emotion. Insane Pollock Wolf, he read your comment where you said, yeah, I don't know why people are getting upset. I can't read every comment, guys. There's I don't know how many comments. I'll report later, I guess. When this is over, I think it will show me how many total comments there have been. It's going to be in the hundreds and hundreds. I can't read them all. And I've read tons of negative comments. John Fay, at this point, let's just hope we can make the playoffs, and that's if we can stay ahead of Columbus. Worst case, I do think they will hold on to a wild card, but it's it's a dogfight, man. It's an absolute dogfight. I'm still hoping we could catch Carolina somehow. And again, if we had won tonight, that would have been a huge, win with their loss. And like other people said, maybe Rantanen threw their team chemistry off. I hope they start tanking. That'd be amazing. And back to a little 4 or 5 game winning streak, that could get us right there to leapfrog them. So I'm still not counting out second place. I've fully given up on winning the division. Washington is just on a friggin' tear. And they are going to win the division, but I still think that Carolina could be caught for that second spot, which would be, oh shit, let me see something. Damn, what are the odds of the Caps putting up 8 goals and not one of them was Ovechkin? That's keeping an eye on the Ovechkin goal counter there as he chases Gretzky's record. Woodson Mercer has 2 more seasons at a manageable $4 million per. I'm waiting and seeing until his last year to trade him. Captain Mafungo, if the Devils miss the playoffs, Fitz has to be sent packing. I fully agree with that as well. Missing the playoffs this year would be completely inexcusable and a warranted death sentence for sure. NJ would never be a no captain clown shoes team. Yeah, that is pretty. I always thought that was weird. Nick Sports, looking forward to 26-27. I really think that a couple of seasons will do the team so good and potentially a cup. 26-27. Come on, man. Nick, we gotta win now, bro. Gots to win now. Mike D says Nemitz isn't going anywhere. Mercer's issues are that he seems to go backwards. He hasn't had a good year. I wouldn't be so sure that Nemitz isn't going anywhere. I mean, the right deal comes along. I think he definitely could be going somewhere. Yeah, I don't think by any stretch is he untouchable. Now, will Fitz be stingy with potentially trading him and want some sort of, decent return to move him? That I think. But to say that he's definitely not going anywhere, I think is kind of crazy. And again, Mercer, I don't know what you guys are expecting out of him. I think he's been fine. I think a lot of people after that 22-23 season had unrealistic expectations and thought, oh, he scored 56 now or whatever. He had 55, 56 points. And they thought he was going to be like a 70-point guy or a perennial 60-point guy. The whole team apparently overachieved that year. And, let me see. What does Mercer have now? 25 points in 58 games. So that's like he's on pace for roughly 40 points. I mean, yeah, would I ideally like to see more out of him? Absolutely. But I don't think he's, what a lot of you are making him out to be. Devils Hawk, this team is in trouble. Insane Pollock. God, you Doomers are insufferable. I mean, it's bad. But I expected this. I expected it. I'm not shocked by this whatsoever. I'm not surprised at all. GJ Zito, 95 had Peluso. McDermott is fine on the fourth line. I will say, though, in fairness and no disrespect to McDermott, Mike Peluso was, he brought more than just fighting. He was good on the forecheck. He slammed guys. I mean, that crash line was phenomenal. The Devils, one of the best Devils lines in history, in my opinion, and easily the best fourth line in Devils history by light years. John Fay at the Insane Pollock. I hate to be the one to say it, but you can't stop them. They will always doom, sadly. Of course. So just let them doom. Just let them doom. Jack Ace, your thoughts on the Yankee facial hair rule being dropped? I saw that they were. Let me see. I'm not a baseball guy, but I always thought it was a stupid rule, personally. I kind of understand what it stemmed from, but I just think in sports it's stupid. I always thought it was kind of an archaic kind of thing. And then it became, at some point, it was just like, it's been the policy for so long that, like, they wore it like a badge of honor, but I thought it was dumb. And I'm sure a lot of the players are happy that it's gone. I mean, that's not going to win you games. And so for stupid shit policies that I don't think is a benefit on the field or the court or, on the ice, I think it's dumb and probably long overdue. Mike D. McDermott isn't a full-time player. He's too slow. He can't play more than 5 or 6 minutes. I think he could play more than that, but he's not going to play, 12 to 15. Art says, at this rate, there will not be any playoffs for this team. I'm not going to say that either. It's very close. It's very close. They're in the mix. Nick became a Devil, became fan of Devils when COVID started because I saw 1981 Rockies game. Devils have played decently, including 23 to the playoff run was all right. Is your picture, that's you and Bedard, Nick? Is that at the Winter Classic? It looks like you and Bedard at the Winter Classic, I'd imagine. It looks like he has on the Winter Classic gloves, and it looks like the stadium spotlights in the back. Yeah, he played 9 or 10 minutes a few games ago. Jack, I wonder if Dano and Brodeur go down to the locker room after every loss and pound the team. I hope. 100% no. 100% that does not happen. Danico probably never addresses neither one of them probably addresses the team. Now, do both of them talk to guys here and there? For sure. Dano runs into guys and talks to them all the time, and I'm sure Marty does as well, but they're definitely not going in the locker room and cracking the whip. That definitely does not happen. And unfortunately, it's probably something that should happen. GJ Zito, Ace, you're doing great. Yeah, thanks, man. I can't please everybody, but, what are you going to do? Beachmaster playoffs is a different sport. Again, I've said that for my whole time on this channel as well. Playoffs are war. Last year was no different. And look no further than the type of game that the Florida Panthers play. And they went to the Cup final 2 years ago, and they won the Cup last year. It's not by accident. Nicole, I finally met Danico tonight. It made my year. Have you never met him before? I'd have to say Dano is probably the most accessible guy in Devils history. I'm surprised you haven't met him yet. Maybe you didn't try prior to tonight. Jeep, we definitely played better today than the majority of the games pre-break. That I 100% agree with as well. It's unfortunate that we couldn't get a win. But they definitely played better than they did in a lot of games, in February. Traveling Devil says, did you get an autograph? And he said, no, but I got a picture. Very cool. Vic, I say for sure we'll be in the playoffs. I don't know how you could say that for sure. I just don't have that faith. I hope you're right, but I would never say for sure. Jack, I met Danico in Toronto last month. Great guy. I saw him walking past me and asked him for a photo. Even though he was clearly busy and going to the booth, he stopped and took a photo. Great guy. Danico is the absolute man. Mr. Devil is the nicest man on the planet, has signed more autographs and taken more pictures than anyone probably in hockey history. Dire Straits, Washington has a fully rested team. How is it possible none of their players made the Four Nations? They had apparently no Americans, Canadians, Finns, or Swedes good enough to crack the roster. Vic says Carolina is beatable. We definitely might be ahead of them in second. I think it's still possible, but squandered opportunities like tonight where you have a golden chance to close the gap, it really hurts. It really hurts. Evan says Carolina far from a lock for 2 in the Metro. I agree. It's a shame. Tonight was a golden opportunity. John says if he doesn't do it this season, I think he has one more season with the Caps to do it. Oh, he'll definitely get it next year. Going into the season, I thought he wouldn't get it this year and he would get it early next year. There's still a chance that he does it this season, which is crazy. GJ Zito, with this ownership group, you just never know if Fitz would be fired. I have that concern as well. I don't know if they know a damn thing about hockey, and for all we know, as long as the money's coming in, they don't give a shit. That could be the reality. I hope it's not, but could be. Nicole, we drove 3 hours to see this game, lost, and are driving 3 hours home. Meeting Dano made it all worth it. Where do you live, Nicole? You guys 3 hours away? Coming into today, NJ was 96% to make the playoffs. Yeah, yo, Holmes, do you believe that that's true? Like, where is that? Where is that? I saw one a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was like in the high 80s, and that still seemed high to me. I would love to know how these people calculate those odds, because that just seems completely ridiculous to me. 96%. It feels like a coin flip. Jason, no, it's not like this core is all 23 years old. Years fly by. I've been saying that forever. Cores age quickly. Guys move on. You just look no further than the David Clarkson, Zach Parise, Zajac, Damon Severson, all the guys that were in the mix at that time. And in the blink of an eye, they were older guys. They all moved on and for whatever thing or retired. And that's why I think when you have a core like we have, you must operate and win now mentality. Dire Straits Fitz cannot be happy with Nemitz whining to the media. I'd imagine that he's not. Louis says the doomers who doom before the season even starts are one thing. I can understand people being negative at this point. Team looks so shaky. I agree with that as well. But this the people that doom before the season doom after every game. Yo, Holmes, I remember when Palooza wore the A for one day. NJ had just lost to Tampa for the first time in one of the next games. Palooza wore the A. It matters. I have to disagree, yo, Holmes. To a guy like Palooza, would it matter to him for like a game? I could see that as like a motivation thing. But in terms of like this current team, I don't think Nason and Dylan are going to operate or act any differently with or without a letter on their jersey. Furthermore, I think removing an A from or a letter in general from anyone that has it now would be more damaging than beneficial. Yeah, very nice. Nick looks like a young dude. Nick is 47. Evan, Trevor Zegras relationship very good with Jack. Young guy, imagine chemistry with bringing in a guy like that to boost lines. I am so against Trevor Zegras. I want no part. He is another young guy who is in the mold of the finesse skill guys we already have. No, thank you. Hard pass for me on Trevor Zegras. Hard pass. I have no interest. No interest at all. Jack, why can't they finish? We need Timo to get an exorcism or some kind of curse removal. Death speaking to the dead medium woman from Long Island Medium. At some point, they're going to start going in. Nicole, I didn't try. I definitely overthought it before and didn't want to be rude by walking up to him. Oh, he's at a Devils game, Nicole. That's all people do is walk up to him. Probably dozens per game at minimum. Jack, Washington had no one picked because the Four Nations GMs looked past their fluke season and the players completely overachieving. People have been saying that all year. They're going to win the division. London, Ezer, hi, Ace. What's going on? London, Evan Burton, Ace, side question. Do you think the Isles move Brock Nelson? It's a club that always lets its fans down. I don't know. I think Lou would try to keep him, but maybe he wants too much money behind closed doors. I'm not sure. If he does get dealt, he's not going to come to the Devils. Lou will trade him somewhere, but I do think Lou would prefer to keep him, I would imagine. We're going to find out soon enough. Insane Pollock, the dude is getting snake bitten terribly. If it doesn't hit the post or crossbar, the goalie saves it. Mike, Nemitz isn't getting traded for a third or fourth liner. He's 20 years old. No one said a third or fourth liner, but McCann would certainly be a guy that I could see it happening for. Yeah, I'm not saying to trade him for a third or fourth liner, but that's not McCann. McCann will definitely be in our top six. The owners love Fitz. That is a whole other issue. It could be. Nick, I hope the Michael McLeod case was false because he was genuinely helping the Devils. Well, whether it's false or not, it doesn't matter. I don't think you'll ever see him in the league again, and he definitely won't play for the Devils, and most likely no one else in the league, but definitely not the Devils. And so it's all a shame. We miss his talents. What he brought, his skill set is not easily replaced, but I think we've probably seen the last of him in the NHL, and he's definitely done as a New Jersey Devil for sure. Insane Pollock, dude, you'll never see McLeod on a team again. I agree with that. Nicole, Pennsylvania, LOL, married a guy who was worth leaving Jersey for. Okay. Maybe you could drag him back to New Jersey one day. You guys would be closer to the game. Ted, Ace, I was at the game. Fun to watch, but Devils need to work on defense and other players to step up. Often I see too much passing and hesitancy to shoot the puck. Woodson, believing this team could get the 2 seed after seeing a full year of the massive failure is wild. I mean, how wild is it? The Hurricanes seem like they could be struggling. I'm not saying we're going to win the division, but thinking to catch Carolina that they trail by 4 points is not that crazy. Oh my God, it's 2 points. Oh yeah, but the game in hand. Okay. Yeah, 2 points with the game in hand. We could have been, damn it. We could have been tied. What a blown opportunity. Ace, were you at the game? I was not at the game. Woodson, the fact that we might miss the playoffs after our start is a meltdown of epic proportions. Could not agree more. Failing to make the playoffs this year would be unforgivable on so many levels, and it would be, to me, the biggest failure of a season in Devils history. The biggest meltdown in Devils history. Spirit in the sky. There's no real leader in the locker room. They need a Scott Stevens type of guy. Well, Scott Stevens type of guy. I don't know how many of them are out there, but I do agree that we probably we have a lot of young guys, but we do have some leaders in there, and I do believe Nason, Dylan, I believe Markey, Jacob Markstrom, I think is a leader. He's an old school throwback guy. We do have some leaders, but we also have a lot of younger guys. If you think back to a lot of those Devils teams, they were more veteran teams or older teams with sprinkled youth. This team is mostly youth with sprinkles of veteran. Jack says, Caps can win all the regular season stuff they want. They will not go far in the playoffs. Their luck this season is literally off the charts. It will falter and hard when the games get tight. It's possible. Insane Pollock, they extended Fitz last season, so they may give him one more season. SST, how come all teams have good to great fourth lines and the Devils have the worst fourth line in the NHL for the second straight season? Jack McCabe, Ace, do you believe in the quiet, shy, silent leader captain like Nico or a guy like Stevens or Kachuk who plays and acts loud? Well, so actually, Scott Stevens was not a very vocal leader. For all the guys that talk about it, he just led by example. He wasn't a big talker or a yeller in the locker room. He just led by example and would give people the death glare, and they would know. With that being said, I always prefer an outwardly, fiery kind of guy like a Kachuk. I will always pick that. Now, that's not to say that guys like Nico can't be a good captain and lead in their own way. It's just not my personal preference. I like the more boisterous kind of visible fire, if you will. Anonymous, I like Casey, but he's a munchkin. Not the answer when you're looking for beefy talent. He's also a defenseman, though. I don't necessarily need all my D-men to be beefy. I do like beefy defensemen, why I love Kovacevic and Dylan. But I do think Casey, I think the pros outweigh the cons for me personally. I would like to see him get a game, and let's see what he looks like. Chico, Scott Stevens wasn't vocal. He led on the ice. Jack Hughes did that tonight. Unfortunately, they still fell short. Nicole Ace, who would you like to realistically see on the team as a good hitter? Of guys we have, or you mean like a new guy? SST, how come every team brings a no-name player for 1 or 2 games to play in the NHL and said player scores a goal and Devils cannot find such player for 2 years now? I also think we haven't given guys long enough looks. We called up a bunch of guys and they played 1 or 2 games. Outside of Dowling, all the rest of the Utica guys got like 1 or 2 games. Riot and respect, I've come to the conclusion that I'd be okay with involving Mercer in literally any trade that potentially makes this team even slightly better. Yeah, but what type of player do you think that is? And again, we'd be moving a forward who's a quality NHL forward when we need a couple more of them. Natural Canopy, I think at this point you have to trade Nemitz for a couple of solid guys. The fourth line is horrendous. Cisco Kid Stevens didn't have to talk. No, he didn't. He stepped out on the ice and he lived it. Louis, what happened to the Gary Coopers, the strong silent type? John Fay, all right, Ace, I'm heading out. See you for tomorrow's post-game stream where we're hopefully drinking victory booze instead of loser booze. Cheers to that, John. Shit. I hope tomorrow's victory drinks. We'll see you tomorrow. Jack, SST bingo. Yes, every team calls up a guy from the AHL and they look great except the Devils. Natural Canopy, he didn't talk about his feelings. He just did what he had to do in reference to Scott Stevens. Evan Burton, let's will this into existence. Deja Vu, Nico, Nets 3 in Music City for second Hattie of the year versus most likely their number 2 goalie tomorrow and propel us into this vital road trip. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. All right, guys, I'm taking a bathroom break. 2 minutes, you know the drill. I'll be back in 2 minutes, and I'll start winding this down. We've been on here for a while. It's not as late as normally is because the game started earlier. 6 o'clock game is super weird. Is that the time tomorrow also? 6 o'clock is bizarre. I do like afternoon games. I'm not sure how I feel. Oh, and the Rangers play the Pens tomorrow. Seems like a lot of teams on a back-to-back. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm back. I would love to see Nico get another hat trick against the Preds. I want to check something here. All right. Nicole says new guy. If the Bruins fall out of it and become sellers, which they could, but I just feel like they're gonna be in the mix till the end, and they might not want to sell. But if they do become sellers, Trent Frederick is like a top 25 guy in the league in hits, and I think he could be a great depth center for the Devils and provide some physicality as well. I would love Trent Frederick, but I just don't think the Bruins are going to fall out enough to really sell off. But it could happen. We will find out. I would love him. Jack, fourth line is embarrassing. I have a better chance to becoming pregnant than all three of those guys factoring in the same goal, and I'm a male. Oh, boy. Chico says, wash his hands. I always wash my hands. Right and respect. At this point, literally any respectable return player could come in and probably produce more than Mercer has in the last while. I don't know about that. See you later, Traveling Devil. Anonymous, Luke 7th D, Team USA at best. It's a stacked blue line. I know, but I think he is right there. Like, if, he looks great down the stretch and has a great start to the season next year, I think he could play his way onto the team. But for people to say it's a ridiculous notion, I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I think he is right there on the cusp, but he might be on the outside looking in. Lori T, I'd rather have us in last place than have McLeod back on the team. I can't say anyone want him back. They should find someone else to take face-offs. Jordan C, I dated Scott Stevens' niece last year, and she dumped me when I asked if she could get me one of his game warrants for my birthday. Yo, is that a real story, dude? If that's true, that is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. And you took your shot. I like it. If that's true. Jack says, what? Jordan, is that true or BS? Insane Pollock, a healthy Markstrom would have stolen this game tonight 2-1. Maybe. You can. I never like playing that game. You never know. Jordan C, it's true, dude. You're a legend, Jordan. That is hilarious. Yeah, great story for sure. Nick says he had 2 goals on Ring of Honor night, plus a couple of important assists in later games in reference to Mercer. I do like Mercer. Ryan, and respect, while I agree McLeod did more than faceoffs, that kid was an absolute dog. They've yet to find someone who can fill that role. Yeah, absolutely. He was definitely a Swiss Army knife kind of guy. Physical, could score in the bottom 6, yeah. Woodson, one bathroom run, everyone knows the rules. Absolutely. SST said, nobody likes to date a Devils fan. Marta rejected me too. And then Woodson said, wrong, SST, I get all the ladies. Ace, do you have a Ranger logo on your toilet? I do not. SST says, you're lying. And then Woodson says, play beer league, they come running. I score more ladies than goals each season. Jordan's, I'm not lying. Her dad is Scott's brother. She lives in Kingston with me. Oh, my God. How old are you, Jordan, by the way? You look like a pretty young guy. So funny. That is so funny. Kingston, Ontario. Good night, Louie. Chico says, it's such a tough situation to be in as a Devils fan. It's hard not to feel a little hopeless at the moment, but at the same time, this team has all the tools they can put together another December. Oh, man. I hope so. But it seems like a lifetime ago. That team that was red hot going into the Christmas break before it all fell apart. That's an old pick. I'm 31. That's so funny, man. What did you say to her exactly? And then when she dumped you, did she tell you it was because you asked for the jersey? Ryan says, waited 2 weeks for a Devil's L, scratching my head. Man. Got to win tomorrow, 6 p.m. Be there, be square. Your New Jersey Devils back in action, looking to get a much-needed win. Jack says, I guess that makes sense. Great story, Jordan. Something to tell the generations. Right and respect. I'm hoping this team can find a way to get hot right before the playoffs start. If they can build momentum when it matters, they can let that carry them as far as it will take them. Ryan, you're going live before the game. I'm not sure about tomorrow. Probably not. But maybe. I might. I don't know. We'll see. Amagi just got home, went to Top's Diner after the game, and the fantastic experience there helped cope with the L I witnessed at The Rock. Tell me more about your Top's Diner experience. Chico, if they don't win tomorrow, I might not even bother coming by the stream. Nothing personal, Ace, but I don't have the same tolerance for doomers that you do. It's painful, man. It is painful. I don't blame you. It is mentally and physically taxing to deal with them time and time again. And if they somehow lose tomorrow, it will, quite frankly, be at an unbearable level of dooming. And so I totally get it. No offense taken, Chico. Jack, is there any Devil's paraphernalia in your bathroom? No, all of it's contained into my basement. I don't bleed it into my real house. It's all contained for the most part. There's nothing like out. I probably have like little things, but not like on display. Jordan said immediately after she said she didn't think it would work, then blocked me. She lives a block away from me too. It's great. Wait, like, did you text this to her? I need all the details now. Did you like text it to her and then she immediately said that? That is so funny. Nick, just saying would trade Jack Hughes for two good players, not because Hughes is bad, because he has great trade value. I've talked time and time again. I can't entertain these things because I know that it's just trading Jack Hughes it's an absurd, it's never going to happen. Right and respect. Getting hot implies winning more than 3 in a row, though, which probably won't happen. Well, hopefully it does at some point down the stretch of this season. It hasn't happened in over 2 years, 2 years and a month. So you're talking about 25 months since the last time the Devils won 4 in a row. Dire Straits, Ace needs to put up with us doomers for the good of his channel. I mean, yes and no. Ryan, oh yeah, Ace, I don't know if you have Optimum, but they got MSG back, so I'll be canceling Fubo. I hated Fubo. It's Fubo. I hate it. It's so far behind, but I don't have Optimum. I have all streaming stuff now. I don't have traditional cable anymore. The stream is always behind, and it sucks during the games for sure. Amagi had a frozen hot chocolate and the George's breakfast. Pancakes, hash browns, bacon, sausage, eggs. Friend had filet mignon cheesesteak and fried Oreos for dessert. Amazing food and atmosphere. Is this the diner in Harrison? Or East Newark? Anonymous, seems we got a false sense of how good/bad the team is when comparing games played to wins. Best at the beginning of the season. We were at the top by a couple of points, but played 4 or 5 more games, misleading. That's why I always, when I pulled up the standings early on in the year as well, we did have so many more games played that I always filtered it by points percentage because it did, in my opinion, give people an inflated sense of how good the team was because the points weren't a true indicator because of the amount of games played. So I always went by points percentage. Yeah, man, all is good. I thought we were just joking around. I said that and shit fell apart. I think she thought I was using her. She knew I was a Devils fan. We met on Hinge. Yeah, that's the great. Oh man, it really is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Wow. Chico, I have Comcast. I haven't gotten MSG in like 4 years and can't switch because all that's available in my area. Clark is Comcast. It's in East Newark, 10 minutes away from the Rock. I might have to check it out. What was so good about the atmosphere? The food sounds pretty good. I'm looking at the menu. I think I was here once. I don't remember why. I love breakfast foods at night. Will this team ever finish on a breakaway? Eventually they will. Nick, some people in chat need to turn on LNH during intermission so they don't understand all the bad things about the Devils. What's LNH? Ride and respect. This is now 3 or 4 games in the last 15 or so that I'm watching live, and there's a breakaway, and I see it's number 14. Yeah, it seems like we've had trouble finishing breakaways as well as all kinds of other shots as well. It's troubling. It's a little discouraging, but hopefully we see a turnaround in these last 24 games. Amagi, it was fun seeing other Devils fans at Tops. Definitely going there again after a game to try more stuff since their menu is huge. Also, the giveaway hat for today's game is amazing. Great quality. It looked pretty cool. I saw it on TV. LNH is NHL in other languages. Where do you watch that? Jason, I asked you about Top's Diner Ace the other night. What jogged my memory is I looked at I went on their website right now and I saw a picture and it looks very familiar. I'm trying to think when I would have been there, and it would have been a while ago. And again, another diner that closes at 11 o'clock. I mean, my God, diners in New Jersey used to be a beautiful 24-hour amenity, and post-COVID, it's like very rarely do you find a diner that's open 24 hours anymore. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Oh, so it's like probably French. Ligue Nationale de Hockey. Is that what that is? Jason O says Tops is mad good. Nicole running with the Devil's Party at Tops one game. Amagi, that's what sucks since Devil's games usually end around 10 and the place closes at 11. Yeah, 11 o'clock for a diner? That's weak, man. That's super weak. Ride and respect. I may sound doom and gloom right now, but I actually feel better about the team than I did before the break. Was much needed time away from Devils hockey. Is it possible that the Hughes brothers have a foot issue, like a fungus or an extra toe or something that makes them slip all the time? You guys are brutal. Jason, no, it's really crazy how diners aren't open 24/7 in New Jersey. Yeah, some still are, but they're very few and far between. It's crazy, and it's a rest in peace 24-hour diners because of COVID. COVID made a shift in the business, and they're just like, we're not doing it anymore. Jason, no, NJ is like the capital of diners. It is, and you have to search far and wide to find a 24-hour one now. It sucks. It really sucks. I used to love, me and my buddies would go to the diner at like random late times. A little 2 a.m., a little 3 a.m. Be like, you bored? Let's go to the diner. Not anymore. I'd have to travel pretty far. Jack, Ace, what's your go-to diner order universal across New Jersey? Depends what I'm in the mood for. A lot of times I will get a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese on a roll with the side of home fries. I mean, that is definitely one of my favorite diner orders. Sometimes I'll just do like the breakfast platter type situation where it's like eggs over easy with home fries, toast, bacon, maybe some pancakes. But I do like the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese on a roll with the side of home fries. Well done. Gotta get the home fries well done. I don't want like raw potatoes. I want that shit to be burned. I want a little burn mark on the top. Hit that with some ketchup and hot sauce, a little salt. Love home fries. Love me some home fries. Ride and respect. A lot of diners in Monmouth County are 24 hours. It's interesting. Around me, there's not many. I mean, there's probably a couple, but they're not like convenient. I used to have a couple that were super convenient. People go to that diner before concerts and stuff. Ted says, diners, have you ever done the Denny's walkout? I don't know. What is the Denny's walkout? I don't even know where there is a Denny's. Or is there Denny's even around here? Jack McCabe, Taylor ham, egg, and cheese on a hard roll with disco fries. Oof, that's a tough order. I do like home fries, but I also love disco fries. If that isn't Jersey, I don't know what it is. That is a pretty Jersey order. Ryan says, did you hear Jack's interview? Said he's not 100%. I did not hear that. Disco fries are unbelievably good. Yes, they are. I remember the first time I had them as a child, my life was changed. It's like, wow, where was this all my life? Yo, Holmes, NJ Diner, order either a club sandwich or a bacon cheeseburger deluxe. A club. There's just so many things that I do like club sandwiches, but like I would never order it. If I'm somewhere where there's like, you go to a party or somewhere where they have like a bunch of different sandwiches in the club sandwich, I'll pop a club, but I would never order it because there's always so many things that I like more than that. Bacon cheeseburgers can never go wrong. I do like a club though. Dude, all this food talk's making me hungry and it's way too late to be eating food. Jack, disco fries are the shit. Can only have them once in a blue moon, but man, they're good. Yeah, it's great for your cholesterol for sure. Probably one of the most unhealthy things on the planet. Ride and respect. Jack actually seemed to care in his interview after tonight's game. Ironically, one of his best interviews all year. Really well spoken and not monotone. I did notice he seemed a little different as well. It is interesting. I wonder, it's probably just a sheer coincidence. I don't know. He did seem more animated and kind of like, he didn't quite look like the normal, I want this over with as soon as possible type thing. Jason says, what is a disco fry? What is disco fries? Jack tells him French fries with gravy and mutts. Oh, no, it's so delicious. So delicious. Dire Straits says, I think Jack was listening to Spit and shit on him. Probably not, but you never know. Did they talk about him in interviews by any chance? I still got to finish watching that episode. I fell asleep watching it late the other night. I was exhausted. Gravy and mutts is good on disco fries. Mm-hmm. All right. Wrapping it up here, folks. Devils lose a painful one, 4-2. Too little, too late. BS penalty put us in a 2-0 hole, and that's all she wrote. We couldn't claw back. It was a good effort, but not enough. Look to rebound tomorrow against the Preds. I'll be back. If you haven't seen it yet, check out all the videos on the channel. Got a lot of Four Nations coverage. I did a Boston vlog, which encompassed roaming the streets of Boston, going to a Boston University game and seeing our boy Mikhail Yegorov register his first collegiate shutout. Talked to Keith Tkachuk. Went to the NHL Fan Fest. Went to both Four Nations game on the Monday President's Day. Some pizza reviews in there, a little bit of everything in the vlog. And then there's the Keith Tkachuk separate interview. There's, the Keith Tkachuk thing is on there. Some warm-up footage. A little coverage of if you want to see Canada's whole thing on the ice afterwards. I have a championship game vlog coming out tomorrow. That was supposed to come out today, but we hit some technical difficulties here. YouTube's annoying sometimes, but I did go to the game to see U.S. lose in overtime, and I did a vlog for that, so that'll be coming out tomorrow. There'll be some other videos coming out. There's always stuff in the chamber. There's always stuff in the works. The Jay Pandolfo interview will be coming out probably in the next week or so. We'll see. I still have to put out the third. All this Four Nations stuff has put a delay on the Cam Jansen part 3, but it'll all come out. It's all coming out soon. Poke around on the channel. Lots of Four Nations videos. I will be back soon. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Go look at some other videos on the channel. And that's it. I'm wiped out. I'm pretty wiped out, and that's it. That's all she wrote. Done. What a painful loss. Got to win tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.